In the Timeless Taupo studio, we've got two visitors. Fred Nicol, who's the team leader for the Taupo District Council Sanitation and Litter Department. Also Wallace Clark, who is a field operator who works with Fred. So good day to you both.
Hello. Kia ora.
You're here because you love music, but not only that, just to share also with us what your jobs are. Is it because you love your jobs?
Yeah, I think we basically do. I mean, with us, I think it's about keeping Taupo beautiful.
Right, Fred, so you bring to the job a little bit of passion by the sound of it.
I think we all do because, my staff's pretty dedicated in making sure our town is nice, it's tidy, it's clean.
Wallace, you are a field operator. What does that mean?
Work out in the field.
I knew you were going to say that. Why didn't I think that you'd say that? Okay, can you be a bit more specific? I believe that you are the man behind the glutton machine. Now, that sounds a bit gutsy to me. What does a glutton machine do?
Well, to me, a glutton machine has been made in Belgium and it's a big version of a vacuum cleaner that cleans town.
Is it latest technology?
Yes, it is actually.
When you say vacuum cleaner, it's got a big suck on it. Has it got brushes as well?
No.
Just a big suck.
It's just a normal suck, not a huge big suck.
It's capable of picking up bottles, paper, leaves. It's just about capable of picking up all kind of rubbish.
Right, it leaves ladies' handbags behind, does it?
It certainly does.
Yeah. I suppose you come across a few things like that, would you?
Not a lot, just many.
Yeah. Are you the only person in town who drives the glutton machine?
He is the only person. I've got other operators that are in training for it, but Wallace is the operator.
A lot of us just don't see that machine. Why is that? I don't see it around. Is it because of the hours you keep? Or the hours I keep?
I sort of got to put it into a prospect and making sure that it lasts the whole day. I mean, if I was to use it straight away in the morning from day I'll start, it's not going to make the whole day, so I tend to do other things before I use that machine.
Why won't it last a whole day?
Because the one's by power.
What? A battery power?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Do you have to plug it in at night?
Yes, every second day I tend to plug it in to recharge its cells.
Is it particular to the glutton machine? For what reason? Why would they use batteries and not petrol or diesel like they would other machines?
I personally believe they designed this for doing the work in town and it's supposed to be environment free and all that sort of things.
Right. So tell me about your job, Fred.
Well, it's a lot of things. I mean, at this present time, I'm the team leader, so my job is to keep everything functioning smoothly in the sanitation part of it, which is to make sure our toilets and Taupo are up to standard and kept in a clean and tidy manner, and to make sure my other staff members are out on the road picking up litter and cleaning graffiti off the walls. And
how big a team have you got?
All up 7 members.
Right, and that keeps them pretty busy?
Yes, it does.
Right.
I mean, our area stretches from Kinloch to Taupo, Acacia Bay, out to Waitanui and along the Reparo. We do litter cleanups and we will remove roadkill, anything like that. We remove it as soon as we get notice of it.
Okay, so you do rely on the public to inform you of things?
Oh yes, we do.
How important is that?
In itself, it's very important. This way, we get requests to go out where we do it immediately, if not sooner, and we can get these things off the road and without being crushed to bits. And
so is there anything else that public ring up about?
Yes, well, I mean, the public informs us on a lot of things like the dumping of illegal rubbish. I mean, that's very bad in Taupo.
Is it on the increase?
Yes, it is.
Do you think that's partly due to anything council's doing or not doing?
with myself, I tend to think that the general public just does not care enough. You know, I mean, hence we go down every day along the lakefront there and we pick up rubbish that they've just dropped in the car parks and that.
Right, let's come back and talk about that don't care enough subject amongst us, Fred and Wallace here in the Timeless Taupo studios. Timeless Taupo, GIllian speaking with Fred and Wallace from the Taupo District Council Sanitation Litter Team, and really looking after the health of the town, would you say?
Yes. I think people are more happy when they see a nice clean town.
How long have you been doing the job, Wallace?
Over 2 years on the glitter machine, yes.
So have you got air conditioning in there and heat?
Oh, I've been getting comments from the public saying that I should have a seat, but I...
What do you mean a seat? Don't you have a seat?
No, he walks it around.
Oh, like a big lawnmower
like
or something.
a big vacuum cleaner.
Me to say you haven't seen it at all?
No, I actually haven't. Can you describe it for other people who haven't seen it?
Just a big vacuum cleaner with wheels and it pulls itself.
And it pulls you?
Yes, when it needs to be pulled.
Going uphill.
And it helps me uphill and all that.
How many kilometres would you do in a day?
I know I'm doing a lot of walking, but that's about all I can tell you at this point.
Oh, so after work you're not rushing off to the gym?
No need to.
Does anybody wrestle you because they want your job?
Yes, but I sort of fend myself away from those sort of people.
Keep yourself to yourself. Have you got any interesting stories to tell about interactions you have in your job?
Well, I met one guy from Belgium who visited Taupo, and he was amazed to see the glitter machine in Taupo because he had a friend that actually made those glitter machines.
Really? What a small world.
So he was amazed to see one in Taupo. But he took a photo of it and all that.
And do you get other tourists who are not that closely associated with the glitter machine that stop and ask you about it?
Yes, I get a lot of them, especially visitors, want to have a photo of it and all that sort of thing. They're amazed to see the machine in action and something for them to tell their family back home, I suppose.
So it's a bit of a tourist attraction. Well, it becomes one when they see it.
Yeah. Well, especially when they realise that it gets to clean town, they're amazed.
Do you think the machine does a better job than if you did it by hand?
Yes, it does. I think it's very effective.
Tell me a little bit more about your job, Fred. How good a team have you got?
Well, I believe I've got a very effective team. They go a long way in keeping Taupo clean. As I say, I've got 2 field staff that are constantly picking up litter on the streets and in the central business district. And the others are toilets, sanitation, graffiti.
What's the pros and cons for that sort of job?
The good things that they probably encounter is when they're cleaning and they get people come and talk to them. I think that's a good thing because I know I get a lot of comments from the public saying, you know, we do a good job and it's a thankless job. And the bad things that we get during the day is when we've got to clean up after people that just don't care.
Well, how do you know they don't care? Litter's litter. Has it branded don't care because it happens to be there?
Well, it's because, if you go along the lakefront at any time in the mornings, you'll find my little litter truck along there or ourselves, and we're picking up litter that people have dropped, and we go back and we do it again the next day. So to me, it's just people don't care enough for our town.
Thank you for sharing with us, Fred and Wallace. We're going to have another song now. And GIllian here with Fred Nicol and Wallace Clark from Taupo District Council Sanitation Litter Team. During the break I was saying, you know, when I was young, and I mean I'm not that old, early 50s, but there wasn't that much litter around. Today you see litter everywhere and you wonder why, what's happened to people's attitude. And, you know, you're here, you've got jobs. You might say you're grateful because you've got a job, and if people weren't so sloppy in their sanitation habits, you wouldn't have a job. But do you really think that when you're picking it up?
No, we don't think like that.
What do you think? What do you think?
Well, with myself, I always think when we've cleaned up a street and we've got to go back the next day and do it again. That's the reason why I said hence that they don't care enough. People just don't care enough about our town. I find if people picked up instead of throwing it away or dropping it on the ground, all right, it might do us out of a job, but our town would be clean.
So there's been some changes go on departmentally by combining. Is that a good move?
I believe it is, because it's now made my staff multi-skilled. At one time, I believe litter had the majority of the work, and so when I took over, I actually changed it, and I believe it's a fairer way of going now, because we share a lot of the work rather than just litter doing it, It was a big move for us because it hadn't been done. Sanitation would only do a metre from the toilets, and litter had to do the rest. So now we're required to do everything.
Now, okay, so you've got your little team of about 6-7 people, and then there, of course, there's the big team of the Taupo District Council, which is probably how many? What do you reckon?
About 40 staff at our depot, which is the mowers, sanitation, litter, mechanical,
gardening.
Right.
How often do you actually get together and see everybody?
We see the majority of everyone every day.
Well, do you know why you're here? It's because you're a part of our community, and Timeless Taupo, we consider that you're an important part of the community because you are keeping our place clean.
Well, I believe we try, we really try. I mean, it's not as if we're a huge team that we can do a lot, but we try to do it. I believe we set goals for our team anyway, which is to remove it as quick as we can, which is graffiti, rubbish.
And toilets don't clean themselves. I'm sure people appreciate that. Do you get comments back?
Well, I've had comments from far away as England. People have come here on holiday and they have commented that it's probably the best they've seen, and I get comments from Australians about the condition and the quality of our toilets.
Yeah, well done. I'd like to know a little bit more about you, Wallace. You're sitting there quietly. Tell us a little bit about your background.
Well, I'm originally from Hastings. I moved into Taupo with my grandparents in the late 70s. When I finished school, I sort of detoured from Hawke's Bay to Taupo. I went back to Hawke's Bay to do some work in the freezing works. And then when that finished, closed down on me, I moved back to Taupo and I started working in the mills, Carter Holt Mills.
Okay.
Stayed there for a couple of years, and then I went for a look in Australia to see the Promised Land, which I didn't last long there. So I came back home. I only stayed there for a couple of months. I did some more work in the sawmill, and then it closed right down on me. I did some seasonal work back in Hawke's Bay, come back and ended up working for the council. It's fortunate how I got into the council was through, I was a student. I was doing a wānanga course for the holidays, and I've been working for the council ever since.
Right, so how long ago was that when you joined the council?
I'm going on to my 8th year.
8th year?
Yes.
Yeah. And now you're with the council. You've got the glutton machine that you walk in front of, and it gets you quite a bit of attention too. Do you like that side of it?
Yes, I'd like to thank all those people that compliment me on my work, and appreciate that. And yes, makes me feel like I'm justifying my job when they do compliment me, and that's how I like it. And
Fred, what about you? Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
My mother's family are from the Tūwharetoa Nation here, and they have been around the Taupo area for over 150 years. I'm born and bred here. I went to school in Taupo, went to college in Taupo, and then when I finished school I moved away working with the government. I worked 9 years for the government, and then came back and started working for the then Fletcher Challenge Group. I worked myself up into a foreman's position, and in those days took voluntary redundancy and went to work for WPI International, which is a pulp and paper group down at Owakuni. And from there I went to Australia and came back. I sort of got homesick and thought, well, I want to go home. So I came home and worked for 12 months in the freezing works. Came back to Taupo with the district council, and I've been with them for the last 6 years.
And what about family? You got family?
Well, I've got my wife and 4 children, growing children.
Yeah.
Yep.
What are your hobbies?
Hunting, fishing.
Waitanui now is a place where you might perhaps go?
Yeah, I do go out there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. What about you, Wallace? What are your hobbies?
A bit of fishing. I like travelling. Like visiting families.
Have you got family overseas?
Yes, I have got families overseas.
Haven't by chance been to Belgium yet?
Only if they shout me there.
Yeah, you and your Belgium machine. All right. Let's have another song. Whose turn is it to call the next one? Okay, now we've been speaking with Fred Nicol and Wallace Clark from the Taupo District Council Sanitation Litter Team. And as the team leader, Fred, you were telling me that you're quite inspired by the people that work under you.
Yeah, I am. I enjoy working with them.
Why do they inspire you?
It's because they're willing to go just that little bit extra for everyone. They portray themselves to be big, tough people and that, but they will give directions, they will clean toilets, they'll pick up rubbish, they'll talk to you on the street, and I think that's a great thing.
Would you like to invite the listeners to talk to them more, or would that be taking up too much of their time?
I would really like the listeners to stop and talk to them. I mean, they're...
And any other messages for the public while you've got the opportunity?
Well, I'd just like to thank the public for being there, and the people that say thank you to us. A big thank you back.
And maybe a plea to, help us keep our town clean.
I think that's a big yes for us, as if everyone gets on the bandwagon. I mean, it makes our job so much easier if people put it in the bin rather than toss it on the ground.
Now, Wallace, is there any parting words that you would like to say in regards to the job that you do?
Well, I'd just personally like to thank the people for complimenting me and what I do, and I'll do my utmost best to keep it up. I think people appreciate a clean town.
And I think they do too. I certainly do. It's great to have you on our team at the Taupo District Council, keeping us clean, keeping the town pristine. Thanks very much for coming in.
Thank you.